Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Croydon College. It's great to be here once again talking to you all about the important world of apprenticeships. Hopefully in the next hour we'll be able to dispel some myths. We'll be able to help you with some good guidance around what you might need to know, what you might need to consider if you want to become an apprentice. Hopefully we'll be sharing all that with all of you and hearing hopefully from some of you as well about some of your questions. Now, apprenticeships have been in the news lots recently, and actually last night we will all be aware, I'm sure, that the Chancellor has made some quite significant announcements about how apprenticeships are going to be used as we come out of COVID-19. Apprenticeships are going to play an important part in that. I just need to mute somebody. There we go. So we know that apprenticeships are important. And John, I just want to come to you, if I may, just before we start, just as a brief overview of last night's announcements. What is it really saying for people who are watching, who might want to be an apprentice, but also maybe some businesses? What's the general overview?
Oh, it's tremendous. We think it will provide an excellent boost to apprenticeships. We have a lot of apprenticeships that are put on hold. We still have the vacancies. Everybody's uncertain when to come back and release them, etc. This is just saying just now, apprenticeships are a go.
Yeah, and what you will have noticed, I think, is that you've had a great surge in interest in terms of people realising that this could be a really good way forward. If they're expecting to be made redundant, apprenticeships are a good way forward.
Absolutely. Just in the last 12 hours, my colleague LaShonda there has received over 40 fresh applications for apprenticeships.
Great. Well, that's really good to hear. Thanks for that. We're coming back to John in a few moments. I just want to let you know, those of you that are watching, if you're watching us live, you can interact with us this afternoon, and it would be great to hear from any of you that want to ask questions. This is your opportunity to maybe ask that question that you can't find the answer for on all the many websites that there are that you could look at. This is your opportunity right now to put those questions and queries to our panel. Now, you don't need to do that in person. All you need to do is to go to the Q&A button, which is on the bottom of your screen. If you click that button, it will open a box and you can type your question into that box. Now, that is anonymous, so you don't need to be worried that it might be a silly question or not a relevant question. We won't know who's asking it. We'll just see that one of you wants to ask a question, and if appropriate, I will put that question to our panel. And that's really important for us today to understand maybe what some of the challenges that you have in terms of thinking about being an apprentice. How can we help you through this webinar to alleviate some of those doubts and encourage you to take the path to an apprenticeship? This event this afternoon is a series of events that we're running this week at Croydon College. We've already run 4 or 3. We've covered areas such as business and finance. We've done hospitality and leisure. We've had a session around construction and engineering. And as most of you that will know, this afternoon we're specifically talking about digital and IT. But the message really is that if you are thinking of being an apprentice, you probably don't know what sector you might be interested in going into. And really this is just to give you a flavour of some of the opportunities. But the main message is, you know, you can enter in any sector at any level, and you'll be hearing a bit more about that. Now, this afternoon we are recording this webinar, and this will be available on the Croydon College website within the next couple of hours, and you can also go to that website and view all the previous webinars. So, as I say, if you're unclear about maybe what sector is right for you, then you can go back and look at some of the other webinars. It's fantastic that this afternoon I'm joined by a great cohort of people who are all here to give you advice and share their experiences. And very importantly, we do have some external businesses with us. First of all, a huge welcome to PPF, the Pension Protection Fund, which is based in Croydon. Its head office is in Croydon. Since 2018, they've been doing a great job bringing local people into apprenticeships with PPF. And we look forward to hearing from both Anya and Sharon shortly around that actual process and what that means. Also with us this afternoon is Katie Crompton. So Katie is from Croydon Council, and she's responsible for helping local people into jobs and encouraging all of you to take advantage of local apprenticeships. And as a local employer, Croydon Council is obviously also very committed to taking apprenticeships. So whether it be an apprenticeship with Croydon Council, or whether Katie can help and guide you through the other ways that the council can support you into apprenticeships, we'll be hearing from Katie in a little while. And also, very importantly, with us we have Debbie from Croydon College, and Debbie is going to be specifically able to talk to you about the digital and IT sector. Now, for me, that's sort of a fairly broad subject. What does digital and IT mean? What sort of jobs might that lead you to? You get digital and IT in any business. So I think it would be really great to hear from Debbie around that particular course and what you would learn as being part of that course. Also with us this afternoon, we have Gail, who is responsible for hand-holding all of you apprentices through the process of joining Croydon College, helping you on your journey through the programme, but also hopefully and very positively to getting a job at the end of it. And Gail will be giving you an update on that programme and journey that you would be on. And Lashanda is also with us this afternoon. Lashanda is herself a previous apprentice at Croydon College, so she's very much practicing what we're preaching here this afternoon. Lashanda has been through that journey, completed her course, and that resulted in her having a permanent job at Croydon College. So Lashanda is now responsible for the admissions. So if you are thinking of taking the next step, then Lashanda would be the person that you would probably end up talking to ensure that you filled in everything correctly, ticked all the right boxes, and got onto the course that you wanted. So we'll be hearing in a little while from Lashanda. So this afternoon, just to remind you, do talk to us through the Q&A function. Do chat to us. You do have a chat button. If there's a comment you want to make or a question you want to ask via that function, you can do that as well. But first of all, enough from me. I want to hand over to John McLean. John is the head. He heads up apprentices at Croydon College, and I'm going to share my screen so that John can talk to you about exactly the process that would be needed gone through. So if you can all see my screen now, let me know if you can't. John, over to you.
Hi everybody. As Catherine said, I'm John McLean. I'm head of apprenticeships for Croydon College, and I'm going to just give you a brief overview of what we'll cover about apprenticeships. Firstly, who's an apprenticeship for? Can we dispel some rumours for you? Basic eligibility, and provide advice through a Q&A session at the end of the session. An apprenticeship is really effectively a training development programme that's tied to a job role. It allows you to gain the technical and functional knowledge, as well as the accredited experience conducted within that role, specific to that role. You'll also develop the necessary professional skills for that job. At this stage, I would like to emphasise, as we've done previously, that apprenticeships now are not just for young people, they're for anybody aged 16 to 64, either new to a job and they want to learn new skills in a new sector, or for existing employees who in discussions with the company want to increase their skills. And very importantly, unlike most educational functions, in apprenticeships, you actually are in a paid role. You will earn a salary, as well as gaining the nationally recognised qualifications. At Croydon College, we offer a whole range of different types of apprenticeships. I think now from a level 2, which is a GCSE level, all the way through to level 7 degree, and something like 1,500 different career paths. Oh, there we go, 170 industries. Yeah. Employers can now offer apprenticeships, as we said, to either bring in new people in and skilling them up in their job role, or to existing talent. Primarily, we want to equip the individual with the necessary skills and knowledge required for that specific job role, and to help you progress through your future.
Great, thanks for that, John. I think just to remind everybody on those points that that John made, which is that we are actually looking at literally a job for anybody. You do not have to have any formal qualification. There is literally, if you are not currently aware of what your qualifications are going to be, you can actually still apply to Croydon College, and they will find you a role that you can play. We're going to move on now, and I'm going to invite the Pension Protection Fund, Sharon and Anya, to talk to us about exactly what's happening in their world. So bear with me while I share my slides. Anya, I think we're starting with you.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ania Podbereska, and I'm here with my colleague Sharon Godfrey. We are both working in Learning and Development team at the Pension Protection Fund, in shortcut PPF. So we are here to talk to you about our apprenticeship program. We've got a short presentation. Here we go. The first slides are here. Now, we are very happy to answer any of your questions at the end. So, shall we start from the beginning? So, who we are. So first, to start off, a little bit information about the PPF, and our main purpose as an organization, in short, is to protect people's pension and to pay compensation when their employer goes bust. Our head office is based in Croydon, like Catherine mentioned before, but we also have a second office in central London. We currently have over 400 employees, and well, we've been around since 2005, and we've really grown a lot since that time. So although we have some links to Department for Work and Pension, so DWP, we are not officially a government department. We are something called a public corporation. And what it means that in the day-to-day work, we feel very much like a financial service type of organization. And in many of ways, we are very independent from the government. Now, the next slide, if I may. Wonderful. So, why we are here? And answering that question, I think it's very important to say that before PPF came about, thousands of people would lose their pensions, and when their employer went bust. In some cases, they had been paying into their pensions through their whole working life. So you can only imagine how devastating the situation must have been in the past. Now, in 2004, finally, government established legislation in the shape and form of Pension Act, and on that legislation, basis on that legislation, PPF emerged as a company. And since that moment, our aim and main goal for this organization is to pay the right people the right amount of money at the right time. Now, one of the most important things for this organization are our members. And when you work for PPF, you will feel that they are in the heart of everything that we do. Now, on that positive note, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Sharon. Over to you, Sharon.
Thanks, Anya. And just to reconfirm what Anya said, I think it's important to understand about the PPF and our purpose, because it really creates a culture where we're trying to do the right thing for people in society. So I think it creates a nice values-driven organisation. So hi everyone, I'm Sharon. I'm the Talent Development Manager at the PPF, and I'm just going to explain a bit about our apprenticeship journey so far. It's fair to say that we are quite young in the world of apprenticeships. We started our apprenticeship journey back in 2018, and since then we've had many different types of apprenticeships across the organisation, whether they're upskilling current employees or bringing in new people from the local community. You can see here that we've got a number of different areas, and also it alludes to some different levels. And we'll talk a bit more about levels as we go through the session, but it's fair to say we have entry level right through to people doing a degree level qualification. You can also see here that a few of our apprentices have given some really interesting quotes, and I think it's fair to say that what they would all say is that they all do a real job. You know, they come in and they make a real difference to what we do. It's not somebody coming in and just doing the photocopying or making the tea or anything like that. It's actually real stuff that makes a difference to what we're trying to achieve as an organisation. Last year, we were really proud to actually pick up the Apprentice Employer of the Year award at the Croydon Business Awards. It was a big deal for us, and we're really proud of that. Right, thank you. Next slide, please, Catherine. So this is just a sample of some of the apprenticeships we've got coming up. We're really committed to growing apprenticeships within the business, and especially through the local talent and the local community. It's fair to say that, you know, we have had to put a few things on hold with the recent situation with COVID, but we are definitely looking at picking this back up right now. We just have to think a bit differently and a bit more creatively about how we might do that. And you can see here, there's again apprenticeships in all different areas, especially in the IT space. For us, it's a really big deal for us. We are very much forward thinking in the world of IT, so software development, desktop support, infrastructure technicians. We really, you know, and kind of making sure that we're bringing those skills in-house and want to develop those people. Excellent. Great. So I'm just going to pass you back to Anya now, who's going to talk a little bit about the process for application, which is specifically for when you want to apply for an apprenticeship with the PPF. So Anya, would you like to take it from here?
Thank you, Sharon. So we really hope that you find our application process pretty straightforward. We have slowed down the recruitment part of the onboarding for the new vacancies due to the current situation. Nevertheless, we would really like to encourage you to keep an eye on our website and also add your interest into one of our speculative databases that is available on that website. I think the important part here is to say that we don't really ask for the CV. For us, what's really important is your right attitude towards learning. So on the application process, there is a very short application. It consists of a few questions that we ask everyone to fulfill in their own time and apply. You know, this is generally the beginning of the journey here. Now, thinking about why to join the PPF, if I can have the next slide, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Catherine. So I really hope that through this short presentation, you know, that the presentation has made you more interested in working with us. We are in particular interested in a local talent and giving opportunities to the community around us. So as you can see on the slide, there are some few benefits that we kind of wanted to flag with you guys. And well, what I could add here is, and highlight here, is that we pay really competitively comparing to the other companies on the market. Now, one more time, I would really like to encourage you to visit our website, where you will find more information about us, including a very short video that we made about the diversity and inclusion, and that will help you understand a bit more about our culture and what makes us who we currently are. Now, I also want to encourage you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You know, the vacancies are coming, so just be vigilant, be alerted, and honestly push yourself forward. That would be everything from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Just picking up on a couple of things there, Sharon. Obviously, the people watching may not know what level they want to enter. I mean, that is a very interesting list of vacancies that are obviously. There are obviously IT and digital vacancies in there, but there's other vacancies as well. How important is it for you at PPF that people come to you knowing what they want to do, or, you know, what is it? What stage should they be coming to you and talking to you?
Sure, that's a good question, Catherine. I think so. It's fair to say, obviously, the level 2/3 is your more entry level type apprenticeships, and although, you know, we don't often have loads of level 2, I mean, we definitely do have them, but we don't have them coming up all the time. What I would do is suggest that people do actually get in touch with us, and just like Anya said, speculatively apply. So put your information with us, so if something comes up, then we can come back to you. One of the things I would say is with apprenticeships, you can build the level. So you can actually start with a level 3, you can qualify in that, and then you can move on to a level 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a great building block, really.
Just for the benefit, what would level 3 be equivalent to? I think level 2 is equivalent to, is it GCSE?
I think it's like A level-y kind of, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
Gail probably would be better to say, but I think it's more
John?
A level.
A-level.
Or John?
Oh, John.
Yeah.
Who's muted?
Okay, so effectively, level 2 would be bringing you in at sort of 16 GCSE level, and then if you're looking at level 3, you're probably looking at being more in the 18 plus bracket.
Yeah.
I guess the message, I've just put this list up again of the current apprenticeships that you have. So these are live at the moment. This is what you're looking at needing in the future.
Absolutely. So these aren't live right now, but they are definitely coming up in the future for us.
Yeah. And we touched upon business administration in the previous webinar that we've just finished, but specifically picking up on IT and software. Obviously, you've got those very specific things there. Do you need to have, good IT knowledge? I mean, is it that you've got to be a bit of a geek when it comes to, to IT to be able to be looking at these? I mean, what level of IT experience are you looking for?
Yeah, I'd say that you would have to show that you're interested in it. I think that's for me where people stand out. Where are your passions when it comes to IT? So I think, whether you're an IT geek or you're really passionate about IT, I think this would be the pathway to take. Because obviously we're looking at people that won't necessarily have loads of any work experience. So having to think about what things can you show to us and demonstrate that actually provide the right attitude to learning, and whether it's things you've done in your spare time or things you might be reading up in your spare time or doing in your evening job or whatever, if you do have a job, how can you demonstrate to us that you've got the right attitude to want to do one of these apprenticeships? So it's attitude, really.
Right. So the main thing is to come with the right attitude, with a willingness to learn, and to approach you and to talk about. And if there isn't a vacancy that you think is right, to apply anyway through your current website, and that will put you in the right direction. Okay, that's really great. I'll
say, just on that note, sorry, Catherine, if you are interested in apprenticeships and we don't have the vacancies on our site, you can always get in contact with Croydon College, because they'll be able to guide you a bit more as to what areas might be more suited to you. So it's a bit of a partnership approach, really.
So I was going to pick up on that, because clearly for those that are watching, this is a Croydon College webinar. Obviously what we're doing here is promoting the role of Croydon College, supporting people in partnership with local business. But I guess it doesn't matter particularly which route they go through. John, can you just pick up on that? I think it's a bit of a dual approach, but what should be the sort of main next step if someone...
Yes, they can contact us direct via the apprenticeship page on the website. They can contact PPF, or they can actually go through Croydon Works at Croydon Council. And we all work together, we all assimilate all the applications and evaluate them from there and pass them on.
Okay, that's great. I'm going to ask Debbie now to talk to us. Debbie you're based at the college, but you're responsible for the digital and IT apprenticeships. Hopefully you'll be able to see my slides I'm sharing. Yep, great.
Thank you,
Debbie.
Hi everyone. I'm going to talk to you a bit about the digital IT apprenticeships and the different elements, strands that we have. So for example, if you go through the infrastructure technician, you could be working towards becoming a help desk technician. We have digital marketing, data analysts, and network support. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to talk to you a bit about IT infrastructure. For example, you would be learning about hardware, software, all the network resources. You get to do hands-on in the classroom, and you will also get to have the experience and knowledge, and you can consolidate that in your place of work. So you actually get to use the technology, understand the technology, and you'll be supporting real people in the organization to actually deliver IT solutions and services. Next slide, please. So as an infrastructure technician, for example, you'll be responsible for providing support to all the technology systems within the organization. You'll also be supporting the people. So you must be somebody who likes working with people, you know, solving problems, and just making sure that you're there to help the organization to run smoothly when it comes to all the different types of IT issues. Next slide, please. We also deliver the data analyst strand, and the primary role of a data analyst is to collect and organize data. So you must be somebody who is interested in data, analyzing data, giving insights to the business, and conducting a range of analytical studies on data. Excuse me. Next slide, please. As we know, data informs every business decision, so it's very important in this digital age, and there are loads of different data sources that you'll be working with. So for example, the web, Facebook, Twitter, you'll be using all sorts of databases. So you must be somebody who is interested in, you know, that side of things, exploring and interpreting data. And most importantly, being able to actually present this data to different people within the organizations at different levels, so they can get insights into how they can use the data to improve the business, and also get insight into, you know, the performance of the data, and therefore build their strategies. Data analysts are actually in very much demand in different businesses at the moment. Most of the courses are between 18 months or 24 months, depending on which strand you decide to sign up for. For example, the data analyst is 24 months, the infrastructure technician is 18 months. You can actually finish your course slightly before these time frames, depending on how well you actually perform in your journey. We have something called the in-on program and the endpoint assessment. So the on program is where you actually learn your skills. The on program is where we interact a lot with the employer. You do your different assessments, you gain qualifications, and then at some point in time, you would then be ready to go to the endpoint assessment. This is where you demonstrate your competence towards the actual strand that you've come in for. So if you signed up for a digital marketer, for example, you would then go to the endpoint assessment and actually do some projects that actually display your competence. And that's when you will then become a digital marketer. And at the endpoint assessment is where you're actually assessed and you gain your final qualification as an apprentice. Next slide, please. We are there to support you along the process on program and also towards the endpoint assessment. And this is where you gain industry recognized qualifications. For example, you have the certificate in data analysis. For the digital marketing, you have a variety of qualifications like the CIW. In the infrastructure technician, you also have the BCS certificates. So you will gain different sorts of qualifications along as you're going in your journey as an apprentice. And as you're getting each qualification, you will increase in your knowledge, in your skills, and you'll then be able to apply those behaviors in the workplace. So it's an interesting journey, and you verify in different sorts of things. So it's not kind of static, it's quite dynamic, and we map what you do on the syllabus into what you're doing in your workplace. So both of them are kind of tied together. So it's quite interesting, and you'll find that you learn quite a lot along the journey. Next slide, please. You will have different projects that you'll be working on. So at your place of work, you'll have the opportunity to work with your colleagues. You'll be part of a team, and then you will have different projects that you would actually contribute towards. So very early on, you're very much part of the organization. Very early on, you can begin to make an impact as an apprentice and feel very much part of the team. You will have a choice of exams towards assessments. You'll keep a log of how you spend your time. And at the end of it all, your line manager would give you an employer reference, which you can combine with your certifications to further your job hunt at the end of it. Or if you're taken on by your employer, then you have all this in your portfolio as evidence. Next slide, please. You will have our support, you will have bi-monthly visits, and you have weekly classes whereby you have hands-on projects, simulations, the combination of learning, and we try as much as possible to deliver the learning according to your learning abilities. Some people are, very hands-on, very visual, so we have different kind of learning modules according to your skill set. We have online and face-to-face training. For example, during this COVID, we had to shift a lot to remote and online learning. We still have our apprentices, still learning and doing their training. Next slide, please. So you will have your summative portfolio, which will be a combination of the evidence of all your work. And you will gain your technical knowledge and understanding. And then, this will be demonstrated at the endpoint assessment at the end of our apprenticeship. And you'll have our support to do this. So, there's no cause for alarm. We are there for you to help build you along, for you to be able to be very confident at the end of it and display your skill set to your employers and to the assessors who will be assessing you at the end of your program. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Not to bore you too much about the technical aspects, but at the endpoint assessment, you will have your project, you will have a synoptic project that you will deliver, you will have your portfolio, you will also have a structured interview with an assessor. This is an interesting one because you will actually meet up with somebody who is quite new to you, and you'll be able to demonstrate your competence to that person to show what you've actually learned over the whole 18 months or 24 months that you've been on your course. So that's an interesting one. And as an apprentice who's learned quite a lot, I'm sure you'll be quite enthusiastic to demonstrate and want to show that, I've actually learned quite a lot. I can actually do X, Y, and Z. This is the impact I've made in my workplace, and this is what I've been able to achieve from my learning. So it's a combination of all that in your endpoint assessment. Next slide, please. Croydon College has invested quite a lot in bringing together the different resources that you would need. We have a virtual learning platform. We also have tied the resources into the vendor qualifications that are being delivered. So we have resources from CIW, from British Computer Society, City and Guilds, and all different vendor learners who are delivering the qualifications. We also have the online e-portfolio. For each apprentice, you have an online portfolio that you would gather together all your assignments. You put together all the tasks that you have done over the period of your apprenticeship. So the portfolio itself tells a story about your development over the period in time. And it's a very good tool to actually use to show what you have acquired and demonstrate your IT skills across the different units that you have done during your apprenticeship. So all these resources are mobile, and email, and we use different platforms to enable the students to, pass and get the work done.
Lovely, thank you very much, Debbie. It's certainly, certainly a lot of opportunities out there from what you've said. I mean, I've sat there and I've made a note to myself that actually a data analyst role is something that we could probably do with in my company. So I should definitely come and have a chat with you about an apprenticeship opportunity there. It's obviously a big subject. I guess just for me, picking up on the sort of similar question that I put to PPF earlier, just around, people watching, they don't necessarily need to have, although you are saying this is a level 3, really, a lot of these positions are talking about level 3. So they need to have a bit more than, just the basics. They probably need to be able to demonstrate more fully that they have really good, strong computer skills. Would that be fair?
Yeah, all they need to demonstrate basically is a kind of passion or towards IT. What have they actually done in IT? A lot of people don't have necessarily have like GCSEs, but they've tinkered around with the computer before. They've opened the computer up. They know some of the basic elements inside the computer. They've been the kind of technical man in their family. They've helped their family and friends with the computer, setting up the printer. So they actually have begun to demonstrate a kind of passion towards IT. They like working with people, solving problems. So once you can display that kind of aptitude, then you're fine, good to go.
Right. It's fantastic. We've got a few of you watching this afternoon that are asking some questions, which is really great to hear from you. I know, Sharon, you've picked up directly with one of the questions that's been asked, but just for the benefit of others, this was someone who has completed a computer science course at college, wants to go into an apprenticeship. He was at a level 3. How does he know what the right level is to come in? And I think you're recommending he should look at least at a level 4. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For somebody who has a considerable depth of computers, a level 4 probably would be better suited for such a person. Yeah. And also, depending on the role that person really is looking to do within a company, would determine what strand to really follow.
Okay. We've got another question. I'm currently studying CompTIA A+, which would help me get a desktop role. Would I still be eligible for a level 3 apprenticeship if I complete the exams for the CompTIA A+? I believe it is a level 3 course.
Yes. Because completing that would give such a person a very good grounding in IT. So you know that you're dealing with somebody who already has a very good grounding in IT, and then this person can then learn the other bits and pieces of IT and the different technologies. And such a person would be a good asset to the company.
Sharon, do you want to come in there on that one?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm not completely au fait with the standard that we're referring to, the help desk role, but I think what's important to mention is that sometimes if you've got a qualification that is either the same level as the apprenticeship, sometimes you're overqualified for that apprenticeship and you might need to look for the next level on. So I'm not really sure with the CompTIA A+ study and what that includes exam, whether that exempts you. Debbie, do you know any more about the...
It wouldn't necessarily exempt the person, no. It would exempt the person of probably just one area within the apprenticeship. There's still other areas that this person would definitely have to go through.
So that's good. So it sounds like they could still do an apprenticeship if they've done this particular qualification already. That's good.
Clearly, the message here is to nothing is off the table. Have a chat with the team at Croydon College or directly with PPF or whoever, and they can give some further advice and find the right element that would be suitable. I'm going to come now to Katie from Croydon Council. Katie, can you just talk a little bit about apprenticeships at Croydon Council, but also the role that you play and generally, the council's support of the apprenticeships in any sector, I guess?
Yeah, of course, no problem. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. I'll introduce myself. I'm Katie Compton. I'm the Employment Pathways Coordinator. I'm here this afternoon to represent Croydon Council. We are one of the larger employers within the borough. We look for the theme of earn and learn. We're a big advocate of apprenticeships. We look for our local residents. We also look into priority groups. We work with our care leavers. We have lots of different social workers. We dip into residents across the borough and need, and different parts of the borough as well. We would do extra work. I currently deal with the central jobs within Croydon. I also deal with Croydon schools. And we also have a budget that we get from the government to use, and Croydon get quite a large pot of money. And we also support local businesses within Croydon. We give 25% of our money to support businesses within Croydon. So if we haven't got jobs necessarily advertised in the council, it could be that we are funding local businesses as well. We also, obviously today, we're supporting Croydon College. Croydon College is one of our training providers. We work very closely with the college, with lots of our apprentices actually attending the college. I actually support the managers with adverts, the recruitment process, developing role profiles so that we know we can get the right candidates in the right place with the right job at the right time. So it is a conjoined effort with the training providers such as Croydon and the college and so on and so forth. If you could jot this down, we do interlink with a lot of other services. So if you're looking to apply and get some alerts around our particular jobs, you need to just Google Croydon Works. Croydon Works is a big advocate for us, a job broker. You'll join them and you'll get our jobs. Also, Croydon Council website. Please come onto our website and check out our jobs. And also have a look at Young Croydon. We also do a lot of work with Young Croydon. So please, even following my presentation today, please go and register yourself on them. If you are actively looking for work within the borough, if you're not in the borough, please still join. We also will give you support with your application. We'll help you with assessments to see what level apprentice that you're actually going in, what level you should go in for. CV, even if it's not connected to an application, what CV, what information's positive to put on there. I'll go back a step in regards to the council. We are a big employer. We are a big organisation. We're split into 4 sections. We have the police department, that's highways, that's your local parks, your grounds guys, your tree surgeons. We have adults that deal with benefits and the welfare system. We have the resources department, which is the contact centre, digital department, RIT, everything like that. Then we have children's services, which obviously, you know, is social care, social workers, local play schemes and so on and so forth. But obviously today is about digital and IT. We actually have quite a large digital department, and also we recruit IT across the borough in our schools, in all our departments. We have an IT that supports. So we do have we've got data analysts, apprentices at the moment. We've got IT officers at the moment. So we do heavily within this area recruit because we do need the expertise and the skills and the support in these areas. We go from level 2 to level 7. An assessment will be done to make sure you're coming in at the right level. No one will be put in at a level that's not adequate for them or fits with the job. We make sure the job and the level is compatible. Just to give you some of the things that you'll be doing in the digital and IT world, we have our apprentices doing decoding at the moment. We have them doing design. They support our websites. We have some promotions that we're doing, and they get heavily involved with the promotions and the marketing side. I've currently got a young apprentice, a 17-year-old girl. She's one of my success stories, doing amazingly in study and amazing in the job. And she's actually joined an apprentice IT network promoting women going into IT. So she's our advocate for women stepping up in the game and sort of not being afraid to think, or maybe that might not be the industry for females, or, you know, working mums or people coming back into the working world. She's a really big advocate for us in that world at the moment. And lastly, I'd just say to the apprentice, anyone looking to come to Croydon and join us and collaborate with Croydon College, we do pay very competitive rates. We pay London living wage for our apprenticeships. Sometimes the school apprenticeships may vary a little, but we are trying to get everyone up to that level. We have great annual leave. Our pension schemes are very attractive as well. We have flexible working. And we have lots of networks for equalities, disabilities, all different sort of support groups we have. We have an employee assistance program as well, and we have a mentoring program, so no one ever feels alone. Sometimes the managers can be busy when they're looking after the apprentices, but we will also link you up with a mentor as well. So we just want to also promote ourselves that, you know, you're coming to this apprentice world, and me and my team and the organisation are very supportive, and we're very apprenticeships. Here we come.
And I know there's been a long history of council working in partnership with Croydon College.
Yep.
In a number of ways. So it's great to see that that's continuing, particularly in these difficult times. So thanks very much for that, Katie.
No problem at all.
Going to move on now to Gail, because Gail, you're going to talk us through sort of really what happens next and what people can expect from the qualifications. Hopefully you can see my slides. Yep. Hi, so over to you, Gail.
Right, okay. Well, to be fair, Debbie has covered a lot of what I'm going to say anyway, but we'll go over it so sort of reiterate certain points. Right, we're going to cover an apprenticeship overview, and we're looking at the delivery of the apprenticeship and what courses are available within the digital world, and also a link to the apprenticeship standards. Okay, apprenticeships are an alternative form of education. It is separate from schools and universities, but it's still education, and it's still seen as education. You have within apprenticeships, there are industry recognised pathways that you can develop your career with. What happens is you apply for a job, you get a job, and then you do the apprenticeship. Usually you will do it 4 days at work, and then either 1 day or half a day in college. However, you do have to have a whole day completing college work or assignments or some off-the-job learning. As Debbie said, there are different areas within the apprenticeship: skills, knowledge and behaviours. With the endpoint assessment, you have to demonstrate all of them. So with the skills, you will be learning in the workplace. So within digital IT world, you'll be learning how to develop a website and that sort of thing. And with the knowledge, we'll be showing you how you do that. On why you've got to do that, and why you need to put in the right kind of coding, and why you need to put in the right kind of language. And obviously behaviours is hopefully you've got a lot of these already, so it's things like turning up for work on time, being work ready, having the right the right attitude, the right work ethic, and obviously you will then expand on these. There are different qualifications, as Debbie said, within the IT world that you do get along with your apprenticeship. So we have, we do belong to the CIW platform, and they offer different qualifications. And we're also looking at additional qualifications to your apprenticeship that you don't necessarily need, but we want to enhance your learning. So we are offering certain other skills as well. The bottom level is level 2, which is usually a GCSE level. However, sometimes you might need to go in at a level 2, even though you may have an A level, because you might have an A level in history, but you've never done anything in IT before, or very little in IT. And we don't want you to disadvantage you by putting you on a high level, and so you've missed out a certain amount of learning. So it might be beneficial for you to start off on level 2 and work your way up. However, if you have a level in IT, then you would go on to level 3, which is equivalent to an A level, but obviously in a different subject. And as Debbie said, you can go all the way up to level 7, which is a fully qualified degree. Debbie also covered about the endpoint assessment. She went into more detail about it, but it usually comprises multiple choice tests, professional discussion with the endpoint assessor, where you sit and as Debbie said, you demonstrate how much you have learned through your apprenticeship and how much you've contributed to your employer, and how much that you can give to your employer. And also it is graded fail, well, pass, merit and distinction. And at Croydon we do aim for distinctions, so we expect you to work really hard. Right, next slide please. Right, we're obviously, due to COVID, we have changed our approach a bit. We're doing a lot more online learning. However, we always have done some online learning anyway, we've just increased it rather. But we do work in different ways at Croydon College. Some of my apprentices, business admin, and I know some of the IT apprentices come into college once a week, Some of them are visited in their workplace, and the assessor will go through the work there and the assignments at the workplace itself. And we do have the online platforms, as Debbie said. As you can see from Debbie, we have very experienced assessors within the world of IT. We will support you in your role. We will talk to your employer if you've got any issues. We will expect the employer to ensure that you do cover the range throughout your apprenticeship, so that you do learn everything that you're meant to within your standard. Exam preparation and support. We will give you practice multiple choice questions. We will give you practice discussions and an opportunity to demonstrate your evidence by, if you have to do a showcase or if you have to do a project, we'll get you to practice that, and hopefully we'll encourage your employers to also get you to show them your evidence as well, and they can practice with you. We do regular on-site visits to workplace. We have to do every 8 weeks. We have to do a review, which will be covered with your employer and the apprentice. And that we look at not just how you're getting on at work, we also look at the pastoral care. How, are you okay? Are you enjoying your placement? Is there anything we can do if there's something missing from your learning? So we do that as well. And individual support and guidance, we have been very lucky this year to get 2 work-based learning additional learning support, so that they will come out to your work placements if you are struggling with an assignment, and help with your English and maths. So we're really lucky to have that, and it's really an area we are expanding. So anyone with additional learning support needs, please don't think that you cannot do an apprenticeship. Right, next slide. Right, these are some of the areas that we're covering. We're looking at digital marketer, marketing manager, infrastructure technician, unified communications technician level 2, cyber security, and I know there's quite a lot of work out there for cyber security people, and I know that they earn a lot of money. So that's one to look at. Software developer level 3 and the software tester level 4. Right, next slide, please. This is the link to the apprenticeship standard website. It lists every apprenticeship that you can do. So there is a search button there, so if you wanted to look for cyber security or if you wanted to look for infrastructure technician, you just enter that in the search button. Right.
Lovely, thank you very much, Gail. Certainly what comes across is it's a sort of a best of both worlds scenario, and possibly a really good transition from school or university into a sort of a supported role, in that you are supported through the college still, but you do have the benefit of being in the workplace and being deemed a full employee, which sounds like a great option. I have got a question which I'm just going to bring in from a gentleman who is basically over 40, has taken a career change and has obviously been very proactive in terms of actually taking on, so I've just lost the question. He had a career change. He's started to look for more junior front end roles. He's looking for us to get into the first role in the field. He's basically saying it's hard, it's COVID-19. He's decided the apprenticeship route might be the best route to go down. But although there's no law about age restrictions, it's sometimes harder for an over 40-year-old to maybe
50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-olds. There's no age limit.
Yeah, but I guess his point is maybe this is something that I don't know whether PPF can pick up on, but actually in the view of an employer, is there still sort of maybe a preference to go for a younger person who's starting out on their career, as opposed to a 40-year-old that is looking and has obviously been very proactive about a career change?
Sure. Oh, John, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I can help with that one a little bit. We only, in the first instance, we only have, because of funding through the college, we only split them into about 3 different sections just now, and it's 16 to 18, 18 to 24 and 25 plus. Our biggest section by far is 25 plus. I know that still goes over 40, but it's still our biggest sector of applicants and success rates. Companies we find within Croydon tend to go for the older applicants because of the life experience part of it and the commitment to the job. And I can't say how many are over 40. I need to go back. I've just written to the gentleman to come email address if he does that. Yeah.
Sharon,
but that our experience is the other way around just now.
So Sharon, from your point of view?
Yeah, and I think I'll echo what John said. I think for sure, you know, when you think of an apprentice, you think of a school leaver all the time. And yes, they are opportunities for school leavers. But as John said, when we're looking for the right fit, we want somebody to have the right attitude, the right work ethic. And, you know, even if you've had a career in something completely different, we're very open to people career changing. I'm trying to think of the apprentices we have at the moment, and I'd say it's a real mixture of ages. You know, we have people who have just left school or have just had their first job, or people who are taking a change in career. So, you know, I think it's definitely opening up for people. So
I guess the message for the gentleman, and John has put his contact details in, is, you know, make direct contact with the college, because there are opportunities out there, and, you know, likely to be a lot more given the government's announcement about the extra funding for businesses. So don't give up. I'm sure there is the right vacancy out there, and I'm sure that Croydon College can help deliver that. So can
I just say something as well? For an old apprentice, sometimes they think, oh, it's 2 years course, but 2 years goes so quickly. So before they know it, they will have finished their apprenticeship and they will be in their new career flourishing.
Yeah, so, and also hopefully within a company that they could then grow with and expand their skills. So it is very much about getting into a company in most cases and finding your niche and moving hopefully forward within that company. So I think that's really good advice. Okay, well, we're nearing the end of our time, so I'm going to pass over to Lashanda, who is going to talk to us about the registration process. So hi, Lashanda.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lashanda Malcolm. I'm currently an assistant skills advisor at Croydon College, and I'm just going to briefly go through the whole application process with you. And next slide, please. So in order to apply for any of our apprenticeship job vacancies, you must apply through the Croydon College website, or you can apply through the National Apprenticeship website. Please ensure whenever you do apply that you respond to each question in as much detail as possible. And if you can, please attach an updated version of your CV. If you would like any advice before you apply, please don't hesitate to email us. We'll be open to helping you as much as we can. Next slide, please. So once your application has been sent through, your application gets reviewed, shortlisted, and then you possibly go through a phone interview with either myself or one of my colleagues. Once that phone interview is complete, we'll invite you to an initial assessment. That initial assessment can be conducted at the college, but at this time we are conducting these initial assessments online. During this initial assessment, what will happen is you'll fill out a form, and then we may ask you to provide some documents. And during this time, you'll also, if you don't have a math and English GCSE, C and above, or 4 and above, you'll go through a math and English assessment with us in order to do your math and English along your apprenticeship course. So after the initial assessment, we will send your CV and cover letter over to the employer. The employer has to get back to us and confirm whether or not they'd like to go through an interview with you. Once the employer has selected you for an interview, you do have the option of going through a mock interview with one of us. You can arrange a time and date to go through a practice interview if you don't feel as confident in going into an interview. And we will arrange that interview for you. After the interview, the employer has the final decision of whether or not they'd like to hire you as an apprentice. But please be aware, if you're not successful in getting that particular apprenticeship opportunity, we will try to support you as much as we can and let you know about any other new apprenticeship opportunities within a similar role. So ensure that here are some useful tips. So ensure that you attach an updated version of your CV whenever you do apply. If you're a person who does not have a lot of work experience, especially within this particular field, please ensure that you write a cover letter just to support your application, just so you could show how passionate you're about this apprenticeship role and what makes you a good candidate for this apprenticeship. If you are selected for an interview, you would like some interview preparation, we would be more than happy to help you in any way that we can. Make sure you have an appropriate email address, ideally an email address with just your first name, last name, and at hotmail.co.uk or hotmail.com. And make sure you have the correct contact details because we will need this information to contact you. And so here are some of our apprenticeship job vacancies that are currently advertised on the Croydon College website. At the moment, we may not have much on IT, but we are hoping to get some soon. So, but if you do want any updates or if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to email.
Right, thank you very much for that, Lashanda. I think the message around those vacancies are that there are many, many more vacancies. And certainly in the light of the announcement yesterday, we were expecting a lot more to come on board from businesses that would see it as an opportunity, as a way to bring some new talent into their businesses or even to upskill some existing employees. So do not think that that list that we've shown you is it. It certainly isn't. There's a lot more. And I think the main message this afternoon is reach out to your local college, to Croydon College. It's great that on this webinar you've been able to meet some of the people and see them. That's always helpful, particularly in these times when it's not possible to meet physically. So you've met some of the people now online. We've shared some contact details and really we would encourage you all to reach out and carry on having a conversation. Following today, we will be in contact with you individually, just to check that you have everything that you need and to see how we might be able to help take you on to the next step. This video will be available online, so if you want to rewatch it or point it out to other people, you will be able to do that, and that will be happening in the next couple of hours. And also on the Croydon College website, you will also be able to view via the YouTube, their YouTube channel, you will be able to view the other webinars that have taken place this week. I also want to just give a shout out to the fact that the college are running some virtual advice clinics. So actually every Wednesday currently between 2 and 4 p.m. You can log on to a similar platform, come into a virtual scenario where there will be somebody waiting to talk to you, and whatever your question is, whether it be course related specific or might be about financing or special needs, whatever the subject is that you want to ask about, pop in onto that advice line, and if the person can't answer you there and then, they can certainly take on your question and get back to you. So what we're trying to do here this afternoon is give you as much opportunity to engage and liaise with the college. These are difficult times, but they're also a time of opportunity. So we would encourage you all to take up that apprenticeship opportunity via Croydon College. So this afternoon, just want to say a big thank you again to everybody who's taking part. Thanks to Sharon and Anya from Pension Protection Fund. We hope that you'll go on and win lots more awards around your apprenticeship work and take on lots more local people. That would be really great to see. Thanks to Katie from Croydon Council and all the work that the team there are doing to help bring Croydon people into employment. Thanks to Debbie, to Gail and to Lashanda for the work that you're doing at the college. It is difficult when we're all virtual. It's great to see you all and get to know you all a bit. And to John, who heads up the apprenticeship, John's put his details in the chat. It is an open window for you to come and talk to the college in whatever way works best for you at the moment. So a huge thank you to everybody. We are back tomorrow for an afternoon session when we'll be talking about a teaching level 5 apprenticeship. And this is really for anyone who's currently in a profession that wants to add the fact that they could then become an industry specialist that could then go on to help train apprenticeships and assess apprentices in their particular field. So that would be a way of upskilling what you currently know and do to give you an additional qualification. So thanks again to everybody. Have a good evening, and we hope to see you all again soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.